Hello! Welcome back to Project Too Easy. Today we're going to be looking at the periodic table for Year 9. So let's get into it. First of all, here's some things you're going to need to know before the lesson. Number 1. The charges of the protons, electrons and neutrons in an atom. That's pretty easy. Protons are positive, electrons are negative, and neutrons are neutral. And 2. A very basic knowledge of the atom and its layout. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. Here's the periodic table if anyone wants to take a screenshot. The periodic table, a display of the known elements and their properties. The periodic table is arranged into 7 rows and 18 columns. The rows are called periods, and the columns are called groups, but we'll get back to that later. Some elements display similar properties, so we put them in groups. These are the groups that you will need to know for Year 9. First, we have the alkali metals. Then we have the alkaline earth metals. In the valley are the transition metals. These are the metalloids. We call these non-metals in Year 9. These are the halogens. And these are the noble gases. Understanding the elements. The periodic table is divided into boxes. In each box, there is the element name, the element symbol, the atomic number, and the mass number. The atomic number is the smaller number in the cells of the periodic table. It always represents the number of protons that are inside the element. An atom's identity is defined by the number of protons in its nucleus. For example, every atom with 6 protons is a carbon atom. The atomic number also represents the number of electrons around an atom if it's neutral. The mass number is the larger number in the cells of the periodic table. It always represents the number of protons plus the number of neutrons in the nucleus of an atom. We can use this number to find out exactly how many neutrons are in a given atom using the following formula. Mass number minus atomic number equals the number of neutrons. Finding the number of electrons, protons, and neutrons. Let's say we needed to find the number of protons, electrons, and neutrons in this element. Remember, the atomic number is the number of protons in an element, and the mass number is the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. The atomic number in this element is 9, which means it has 9 protons. The mass number in this element is 19, which means the number of neutrons is 9 minus 19. This, of course, equals 10. Meaning there are 10 neutrons. Finally, assuming that this is a neutral atom, the protons balance out the electrons, so there are also 9 electrons. Periods. Remember what I was saying about the rows and columns in the periodic table? Well, the rows I referred to are called periods. Periods describe the number of shells an element has around its atom. For example, carbon is in the second period, which means it has 2 shells. And copper has 4 shells, since it's in the 4th period. The columns in the periodic table show the groups. Groups describe the number of electrons in the outermost shell of an atom. These electrons are called valence electrons. When we count the groups, we skip the columns in the transition metals valley. For example, oxygen is in the 14th column. But since we are skipping the transition metals, it becomes the 4th column. So oxygen has 4 valence electrons. Beryllium is in the 2nd column, which means it has 2 valence electrons. And that brings us to the end of the periodic table. Make sure to watch out for my next video because we'll be diving more in depth into elements, and I will catch you then. See ya!